Hey guys, welcome back. So we're going to talk about my 3 favorite index funds to invest in for stocks. Now, you guys know I'm a fan of Vanguard, so we're at the Vanguard website here, and we're going to start with my favorite, VTSAX, the Vanguard Total Stock Market Index Admiral Shares. Now, this is not only a total American stock market fund, meaning you have, let's see, you have a total of 3,637 stocks. So you have large stocks, you have small stocks, you have medium-sized stocks. But you have all kinds of stocks. You have value companies, you have growth companies, you have everything. Basically, you have a picture of the whole United States stock market. Expense ratio of 0.04%, so just 4 basis points, meaning that you will only be charged $4 per thousand. The minimum investment is $3,000, but because it's an Admiral share, most of Vanguard's Admiral shares actually have a $10,000 minimum. So what they've done is they've given us a lower rate by letting us buy in at $3,000. It's also available as an ETF. The ETF ticker is VTI. We're going to be talking about index funds, mutual funds today, because I feel like for most people, if they are randomly investing, if they're continually investing, like say $50 to $100 a month, it's an easier fund for them to buy. With the ETF, remember, you have to buy full shares, so you'd have to buy it whatever that share is trading at that day. So my first and foremost, for the beginning investor, I would recommend VTSAX, Vanguard Total Stock Market Index Admiral Shares. Let's take a look at the 10 biggest holdings. Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, Google, Facebook, Berkshire Hathaway, Johnson & Johnson, JP Morgan Chase, Exxon, Visa. Are any of these companies you haven't heard of? Of course not. These are all huge companies. In fact, these 10 companies make up over almost 19% of the whole fund. Remember, it's market weighted. The bigger the company, the more it's going to get. But this fund also has your small caps covered, which is why it's very nice for an all-around beginning fund. My second choice would be the Vanguard 500 Index. This is also Admiral shares, ticker VFIAX. We've got the same expense ratio, 0.4%, $3,000 minimum buy-in, the same as VTSAX. Now, you'll notice that it's a little bit less risky. So basically what this is, you guys, this is investing in the S&P 500 index. Basically, it's the 500 largest companies in the United States. Now, how many stocks does it have? There's a total of 509, so it's got a couple extras. But let's take a look at the top 10. Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, Google, Facebook. That is an identical list to VTSAX. And notice that this actually makes up 22.7% of the total holdings percentage. Now, what does that say? This has about 1/8 the number of stocks that the other one does. This has just over 500. The other one had 3,700. So a lot less stocks, but these are all large companies that are stable in the United States, you guys, and a nice low fee. This one also has the ETF shares available. That's ticker VOO if you're interested in that. So either one of these two are going to track pretty close. If we compare the funds together, you'll see that the difference in the actual performance is minimal. Now, VTSAX does have some small companies which tend to be a little bit more volatile. So when those go up and down, that can affect the change. All right, so we've got 2 good funds decided already for our American stocks. Now let's talk about international stocks. A lot of people say, well, why do I need international stocks? Here's why. The United States stock market only makes up about 36% of the total world stock market. Now, obviously we have a bias because we're Americans here, But don't sell yourself short by not owning stocks in companies outside the U.S. So the best one I can find for this, and this is the one that I own myself, is the Vanguard Total International Stock Index, Admiral shares. Now, once again, the Admiral shares for this fund are only $3,000 for a minimum investment. The expense ratio is 0.11%, so 11 basis points, a little bit more expensive. If you compare that to average fees for an international fund, you see that an average fund out there is about 1% for international. If we invested $10,000 over 10 years, our fee for this fund would only be $259 compared to $2,264, you guys. Big savings on the fees here. Remember, fees are the only thing we can really control in the stock market. So by having lower fees, we have a better chance to do better in our earnings in the long run. Let's look at the portfolio management in this. Now, because it's international, it's broken down by regions mostly. You see the light blue box here is emerging markets. Those are small companies that are just starting to come out in stock market. That makes up about 22%. The yellow here is Europe. That makes up just under 42%. The red color here is the Pacific, so that would be Asia, Australia, all the Pacific Rim companies, and they make up just about 28.6%. We do have a little sliver from the Middle East, less than 1%. The North American stocks we see here, the 6.7%, that's Canadian stocks, you guys. And then you have about 0.7 of other, and that's just individual companies out there that are in countries that don't have enough of a stock market presence to really have their own percentage or their own area. Let's look at the top 10 holdings for this. Nestle, Royal Dutch Shell, Tencent Holdings, Samsung, Alibaba, Roche Holding, Novartis, Taiwan Semiconductor, HSBC, Unilever. Now, I don't recognize all these companies. I know Nestle, they make good chocolate. Royal Dutch Shell, that's a huge gas company, right? Tencent Holdings is information technology stuff. Samsung, you know Samsung phones, right? Those are the ones that are famous for burning up on the airplanes. Alibaba is a big, kind of like the Chinese version of Amazon, if you will. So some big companies in there. Now we look at the total number of stocks in this index, 7,074. Almost 7,100 companies this stock invests in all around the world for just 11 basis points. I think for most people, if you're getting into the stock market and you're wanting to invest in stocks, if you have either two of these funds, either your Vanguard 500 Index and the Vanguard Total International Stock Index, or your Vanguard Total Stock Market Index, which is my favorite, and the Vanguard Total International Stock Index, I think you've pretty much got your world of stock market covered. Remember, we invest in stocks for long-term growth. We hold them for years, you guys. Pretty much any rolling 10-year period, if you had stocks and you held them for 10 years, you finished positive. Now, there may have been up and downs in that period because that happens a lot, but you finished up, and it's the only way proven to consistently beat the cost of inflation. So, those are my favorite. What are your favorites? If you have some, put them in the comments. Let me know. If you like this, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in a couple of days. All right. Thanks.